When you open yourself up to the power of yoga, you open yourself up to the good and the bad. And looking back over the last 16 years at my relationship with yoga, there's been a lot of bad. A lot of other people seem to have a lot more self-control, self-esteem, or started later in life so they didn't have to experience maybe some of the crap that I'm going to be talking about today. But yoga is very powerful, as I'm sure you know. And when I was 13, just getting started with yoga in the 8th grade, because of some teacher's advice. If you would have told me everything I went through and how crazy the yoga world is, I would be dumbfounded. Like, what are you talking about? But here 16 years later, having practiced yoga for probably over 10,000 hours and read hundreds of books on yoga and spent thousands of hours meditating and doing pranayama, I still have a very traumatized and disheveled relationship with yoga. And a lot of it is my fault, 100% my fault. I could have taken a much easier and woo-wee path to where I am now, and it probably would have been a lot better for me. But I never really liked to take the 4-lane highway. I started off-roading at some point during my yoga journey, and I think it honestly started when I started experimenting with psychedelics in yoga. Those experiences showed me the infinite power of yoga. And I say this all the time to my students, but I've never thought about it until now in regards to myself. A lot of people, when they're confronted with pure freedom or pure potential, they freeze up and they don't do anything and they have a breakdown. That's exactly what happened to me because I understood what yoga could do and how great it was. But then what do you do with that? And from 18 to 23, after I graduated high school, I was an introvert. I had very little friends. I would work night security jobs and have no contact with anyone. I had no relationships or hookups with women for over 5 years. But during that time, I was doing yoga and martial arts and spending a ton of time in nature and writing, and I built up a very strong and independent character. But underneath all that, I had a lot of weaknesses and self-esteem issues, and I didn't really have any life experience or stature. So it was, I built this beautiful castle made of sand, and literally within 2 years the whole thing crumbled down, and I'm still trying to just start the first little castle pillar again right now. So one of the things that happened to me, I don't know if it was the universe or just luck, I honestly, it was just seems like luck, that once I started putting myself out to the yoga community as a teacher, as a student, as content creator, entrepreneur, I got given a terrible group of people. I mean, just objectively, the teachers who I was studying under, the romantic relationships I had, the friends that I made, almost all of them not just sucked, but were just complete negative influences across almost their whole life. But in my state of weakness, I could see that, but I thought that I could handle it. I thought that I couldn't get sucked in or like have any problems getting myself out. And I got roped in by all of them, by teachers, by romantic partners, and by friends in the yoga community. And I totally lost myself in yoga. I ended up getting a serious hamstring injury in yoga from pushing from a bad teacher adjusting me way too hard. I had a terrible relationship where I stopped yoga for over maybe 2 years. I was doing this starting videos on this channel. Then if you guys look, the whole channel goes blank for about 2 years. I had friends who were basically just reinforcers of all this other negative stuff happening, these negative people in the yoga community. And you guys, I'm honestly still not okay from a lot of with my relationship with yoga, because a lot of those things that happened to me in that couple year time span, I was way better at like asana. I know asana doesn't matter at 23 than I am at 29. Like, it shouldn't be like that. I could have stagnate. I mean, I know asana doesn't matter, but there are these markers like in my life that I thought would be like have a progression, and a lot of them have just been like very inconsistent and very tumultuous. Like on this channel, for instance, like I came out of that experience like very shocked and not knowing what to do when I finally had like autonomy back again. And I haven't gone to more than a couple of yoga classes since that period in years. And I'm sure some of you guys know on this channel that I was coming out with the heat on Instagram and talking about how the yoga community are a bunch of cowards and they need to use the infinite power that yoga has to help change the world. And I'm not here to apologize. I still stand behind a lot of those statements, but I lost my way personally. That was all me getting out some of the pain from my own life and projecting it onto the yoga community. Like I said, the problems I was talking about exist and need to change, but the energy I was bringing to it was wrong. And it's crazy that I'm given this talk that has been given before, but it's regarding yoga, like the ultimate healing power, the healing, the THC, the healing component to life. And I'm hoping now to get back on track with this channel and try to be an embodiment of the pure energy of yoga, because I know that yoga is going to be a huge part of my life. I've always known that. I remember when I was 16 years old in Utah with some of my, I'm not Mormon, but my family's Mormon. I was out there with them and I was doing yoga outside during the summer, and they were just all making, they were just all making fun of me. And I remember telling them, I'm going to be a yoga teacher one day. And even though it's been 5.5 years on this channel, and what has this channel gotten, like 2,500 views maybe, I'm still committed to helping millions of people with yoga. And I feel in a much better space now, even though I've talked about, because the time away from yoga, all this stuff that I've went through and like the time away that I've had has been good. I'm not as connected. I'm not as pure. I didn't have that youthful purity that maybe would have and could have changed the yoga world completely. But instead, I'm hoping to establish the base for others in the future to do that work. Maybe I'll be that person still, but I'm hoping to establish systems of thought, different pathways, maybe standing up against some of the worst aspects of yoga, so that the healing power of yoga, that beautiful energy, can spread further. That's all I've ever wanted. And it's really crazy that, I got abused by many different parties for wanting to do that and manipulated in so many different ways. But once again, that's how I started this off, that when you open yourself up, you become vulnerable, and you better be strong, and you better be ready. And I haven't, and the only reason I'm making this video, it's so funny, was that I got signed out of all my Google accounts, and I logged back in, and I accidentally, just because it's late, logged into this YouTube account, and I had like 10 notifications, and a bunch of people were praising some of my older videos, which was nice, like thank you for that. But then there was a bunch of other people just arguing and ragging on some of my older videos and some of my comments on other videos, just telling me how I'm wrong and just writing paragraphs and paragraphs. And I just was sitting there looking at it like, I don't even care anymore. None of this matters. Like, who are you guys telling me that yoga should be about about changing the world and using that energy no matter what, and finding the best techniques and sharing them without remorse? Back in the day, I wasn't immune to that criticism because I have a weakness there, because because of people in real individuals IRL ruin my self-esteem around yoga. And when I see, when I saw comments online for a long time, I couldn't handle it. I can handle on some of my other YouTube channels, and I don't care. I just laugh it off. But with yoga, I've had a soft spot. When I saw those comments today, I had no reaction. And then when I saw the positive ones, I'm like, man, people are coming back to my videos 5 years later saying, you should keep going with this. 5 years later, people are still saying, like, I still think about this sometimes. And I feel ready, even though it's been, 5 years since really the train got rolling, I haven't done too much with it. I have improved as a speaker and writer. I am way better now. I've made hundreds of videos on YouTube on other channels. Like, I am ready to come and ready to present things in a much more eloquent way. Like I'm feeling myself talk right now, and I'm when I contrast that with old Ian, like I'm on fire. So maybe that's what just needed to happen. And like this video I'm posting it to symbolize the shift. I feel ready. I have ideas and courses and things that I have 25,000 words laid out for, just for one of them, and so many different ideas that are basically ready to go, but I've just never had the confidence to release. And let's go. Thank you for being here. If you're still watching this and listening, leave a comment down below, send me an email, say what's up. Your support and you guys being here, like, I've never really talked about this stuff before, but like I've been through a lot. Like, I don't say that lightly. I never say that in my life. But like, my relationship with yoga took me to the brink of suicide. Like, I was contemplating suicide because of like my relationship with yoga for months at one point. And just a couple people online and a couple people in my real life who were just being supportive about what I could do with yoga, or the ideas and things that that were possible, are the reason that I'm here now and have the ability to touch millions of lives with yoga. And it's starting right now. So to conclude, I am going to revive the Conscious Yoga Podcast and the De-Occulting Yoga Podcast once again. I'm going to be dropping some of these courses. I'm going to be filling this channel all the way up once again, and I will be happy to see you there with me. Peace.